Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to have a debate on quote, obsession is greatest destroyer of humanity. So this quote is from Herman Melville. He is the author who wrote like 11 books. So one of his famous book is Moby Dick, and this quote is taken from that novel. So we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity. Why we saying that? Because in Herman Melville's Moby Dick, the character Captain Ahab becomes obsessed with hunting the white whale that injured him. So in his novel, the character have said that I'll chase him around perdition's flame before I give him up. Show how deeply revenge controls him. So the statement captures the depth of his madness. So the madness that consumed not only his mind but the fate of everyone aboard. Even Starbuck, his loyal first mate, fears Ahab's insanity, saying, I come to hunt whales, not my commander's vengeance. So this proved that Ahab's obsession not only harms himself but also innocent men who follow him. To show how Melville used this obsession as a powerful warning to humanity. So my teammate will continue now.
This obsession blinds Ahab to reason and morality. He disregards the safety of his crew and loses his humanity and leads everyone aboard the quote to their destruction. So Melville uses Ahab's obsession as a warning about human nature. When people become, when they are very like consumed by revenge, power, or pride, they destroy not only themselves but also the people around them. So, written during the American Renaissance, a time marked by society's fascination with progress and control over nature, Moby Dick reflects Melville's criticism of how human ambition and greed can corrupt morality and upset the natural balance. So, therefore, through Moby Dick, Melville clearly reveals that obsession, whether driven by revenge or power, is the greatest destroyer of humanity. That's all from me.
So for me, I think Moby Dick is more than just a story about a whale. It is a warning about human obsession. As we can see, Captain Ahab's tragic downfall represents how obsession blinds people to truth, compassion, and morality. His desire for revenge has destroyed himself, his crew, and also his ship, just as humanity's obsession continue to destroy our world till this day. So Melville teaches us that when obsession takes control, it sinks not only shape but also soul. In the end, Moby Dick reminds us that when human obsession drowns down empathy and reason, we lose the very essence of what makes us human. Therefore, we proudly affirm that obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity, as proven through the life and the death of Captain Ahab in Moby Dick.
Thank you, Timby, for support the statement. For us, we disagree with your statement that obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Herman Melville Moby Dick give us one of the literature's clearest warning about the dangers of obsession. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah, can.
Yes.
While we agree that obsession can be dangerous, we argue that that is not the greatest destroyer of humanity. In fact, obsession, when guided by reason and purpose, it can lead to the extraordinary human achievement. Sorry, Melville Moby's Dick show us the danger of blind obsession, but not all obsession is blind. Ahab's story is a warning, not a universal truth. So, for example, Thomas Edison, that obsession with invention. So, for example, Edison's tireless obsession with creating the electric light bulb lead to one of the most important invention in history. He failed over 1,000 times, but refused to quit. His obsession improved the lives of billions of people. Uh, the another one is Marie Curie, that obsession with science. Curie devoted her life to discovering new elements and understanding the radioactivity. Her obsession earned her 2 Nobel Prizes and advanced medicines and physics. Tough it cost her health, her obsession benefits and humanity greatly. So for the third example that our group our side that we provide is Melvin's own life also. So Melvin himself was obsessed with the storytelling. Tough Moby Dick was not successful in his lifetime. His persistence made him one of the most respected literary figures in history. Without his obsession, we wouldn't have this very story. So obsession, when balanced with discipline and ethics, become dedication. What destroys humanity is not obsession itself, but lack of control. Ahab's tragedy came from moral blindness, not from passion. So if we destroy obsession, we destroy the drive that fuels human progress. At the same time, arts and discovery. So Melville don't ask us to kill our obsession. He asks us to control them. Obsession guided by wisdom leads to greatness. Obsession ruled by the ego leads to ruin. Therefore, obsession is not the greatest destroyer of humanity. Misguided obsession is. That's all from us. So, any question or anything to
Okay,
see?
I would like to interrupt for a moment. Okay, from your side, you just said like how obsession truly leads to greatness. But whatever you've mentioned, especially about various historical figures, but how do you explain the total destruction of Captain Ahab and his crew if obsession truly leads to greatness?
Okay. Thank you, Dhanushri. So, if the question is if the obsession truly leads to the greatness, how do you explain the total destruction of Captain Ahab and his crew, right?
Yes.
Okay. Captain Ahab's story showed the dark side of obsession. When it loses direction and it becomes self-destructive. So his fixation on killing the white whale is not driven by purpose or progress, but by revenge and ego. Unlike productive obsession that leads to discovery or innovation, Ahab's is fueled by hatred and pride. This kind of obsession blinds him to reason and the safety of his crew, leading to the total destruction. So his downfall doesn't this proof that obsession can lead to the greatness. It's proof that uncontrolled obsession without moral purpose lead to ruin. So that's the answer for your question. And from our group, we would like to ask the question also. So for the support team, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys argue that the obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity, right? So, but let us think. This is obsession is truly so destructive. How do you explain in many historical figures who were deeply obsessed with their goals, change the world for the better? If Thomas Edison was obsessed with the inventing the light bulb, and he did, Mary Crew was obsessed with science, and she won 2 Nobel Prizes. Martin Luther King Jr. was obsessed with the justice and transform history. If ambition always destroy, why did they build and inspire?
Okay, that's actually a good question. But to be honest, what they had wasn't actually obsession, it was passion. Okay, we need to understand the difference between obsession and passion. Passion is something that's guided by reason and empathy, meaning that you're driven with a purpose. But obsession is more towards you are desperate to achieve something. So it's blinding you that whatever ways you are able to get in, you'll strive for it until you achieve your goal, both in legal or illegal means. And even the leaders you said, like for example, Thomas Edison, Martin Luther King, or even Marie Curie, okay, they were passionate. Why? Because they pursued their goals with compassion, which led to their own progress and success. And even with respect to the novel Moby Dick, Captain Ahab's obsession made him to blind himself, which not only destroyed his morality, but also made him to destroy his own crewmates. Because the people who ever followed him, due to his obsession, they had to face a severe downfall along with him as well. So I like to highlight the thing that passion is something that is driven through a reason, but obsession tends to consume and take control of ourselves, even, which makes us blind, losing our own reason of why we even started in the first place. So that's why obsession, not passion, is the greatest destroyer of humanity. So, speaking of which, I also remembered another question that I would like to ask. Okay, do you really think that Melville ever portrayed Ahab's obsession as something positive or successful? Because just as one of your when you explained about one of your points, you mentioned about something respect to that. So does really Melville portray Ahab's perception as something which is positive or successful?
Okay, this is Bharat. I'll be answering that question. Can you hear me? Is my voice
Yes,
clear? Okay,
yes.
okay. Okay. To answer your question, I would say no. Melville never portrayed Art's possession as positive. Instead, he uses Art's character to show how a person relentless pursuit of one goal, when separated from humanity and wisdom, becomes madness. While Ahab's determination and courage might seem admirable at first, Melville gradually reveals that these traits are corrupted by his obsession. There is no victory, learning, or redemption for Ahab, only loss. Through this, Melville makes it clear that obsession without balance destroys both individuals and those who follow him. As to a question that I would like to ask the opposing group, can you clearly define the difference between obsession and passion and explain why obsession must always lead to destruction while passion doesn't? If someone is obsessed just because they work tirelessly for their goal, or are they passionate? The line is blurry. Many call it obsession when someone refuses to give up, but that's often exactly what leads to success. Isn't it too simple to label intense focus as dangerous?
All right. So to answer your question, just as I mentioned earlier, okay, passion obsession may seem similar, but they have different intentions. As I said earlier, passion is driven by a reason. So in a case, it inspires growth while maintaining balance and care for others. But obsession is something that's unhealthy to us because it tends to take full control over us, just and makes us too blind and strive for whatever goal, whatever things that could be done in our power just to achieve something that we really want. So how can this be seen, especially in Moby Dick's novel? Captain Ahab's obsession is something that's very destructive. Why? Because it tends to remove your purpose of why you even started in the first place. You know, in the beginning of the novel, you would have actually seen that Captain Ahab really wanted to destroy the white shark, which is named Moby Dick. But unfortunately, as he wasn't unable to do so, okay, he progressed into being driven by madness. At first, he was passionate about it, but then he went through many illegal ways just in order to destroy the white shark that made him lose one of his body parts. Okay. And if you really aren't aware of this particular story at first, actually, this particular storyline is similar to an animation movie called as The Sea Beast. I'm not sure if you have ever watched about it before, but yeah, its storyline is kind of similar to that animation movie. But what I would like to say on the whole is that passion is something that builds your character, but obsession tends to break it. So that's why passion is something that uplifts humanity, while obsession destroys it, which is kind of supporting our own quote that obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity. And by the way, there was another question that piqued into our interest as a team. Okay, so we would like to ask, would you agree that Melville used the ship sinking as a warning, not a reward for obsession?
Okay, I'm Parveen here. I will answer your question. Yes, absolutely. The thinking of the Pursuit is Melville's symbolic warning about the dangers of obsession and blind leadership. It represents how self-centered ambition can drag down everyone connected to it. The destruction of the ship isn't a punishment from a fate, but the natural result of Ahab's choices, his refusal to listen, to change, or to consider others. Through this tragic ending, Melville warns readers that obsession without reason, humility, or empathy leads not to greatness but to downfall. But okay, so and finally about Moby Dick. Yes, Captain Ahab obsession led to the ship sinking, but I have a question, but was the crew destroyed by obsession itself or by their blind loyalty to a captain they knew was unstable? So Melville might not be warning against obsession, but against blind obedience, poor leadership, and silence in the face of danger. Shouldn't should not we question the crew's choices, not just Ahab's?
Okay, so that's an interesting perspective. I like how your team has thought in a different way. But to be honest, even though, yes, the crew followed him blindly, the downfall still came from Ahab's assertion. To make it simple, okay, let's just say we are in a group. Let's just say, just in order to fulfill or just get high marks in your group assignment, maybe the leader is obsessed with following a path, which, although yes, it seems impossible, he or she strives hard working in order to literally achieve the particular goal, even in the cost of where his crew members have to face the downfall. So yeah, I think that particular thing can be easily related to this one because Ahab's madness made everyone suffer, which shows how obsession spreads like a disease. It's like once if a person becomes contagious, of course, as a contagious disease, it spreads everyone around the group, and then they tend to suffer along with them as well, bringing the whole group down. So the crew's blind loyalty was a symptom, not the exact cause, because the root cause was actually due to Ahab's uncontrollable obsession, which made others fall under trap. So on the whole, it's not just about falling blindly, but about the destructive force of obsession that misleads and consumes those around it. So overall, from our team, we can literally say that passion and obsession are not the same. Because passion gives a purpose to something, while obsession steals it. Especially respect this novel, where Melville indirectly warns the readers that when obsession takes over, it destroys the purpose of why we started it, our own morality, the principles that we uphold or upheld, and even the innocent people who follows. So this is why, on the whole, we stand affirmative in our belief that obsession is indeed the greatest destroyer of humanity.
Thank you for your answer in this conclusion. So from our side, to conclude, um, based on the statement about the sorry, can you all hear me?
Okay.
Okay. So for our side to conclude, based on the statement that obsession is the greatest destroyer of humanity, that our group is disagree about the statement. So Melvin doesn't ask us to kill our obsessions. He asks us to control them. Obsession is guided by wisdom, leads to greatness. Obsession rules by the ego, leads to ruin. Therefore, obsession is not the greatest destroyer of humanity, and at the same time, obsession, when guides, fluid discovery and growth. So that's all from our side. Is anything need to add on? Team B, is anything need to add on?
I guess not exactly, but then overall, after whatever we have discussed so far, I think we can just believe that passion and obsession are two different things. Well, if we are passionate to do something, it leads to something good. But if you're obsessed over something, it can not only make us contagious, but also the people around us, which is something that I think we can look into as well. So that's from our side.
Okay, we agree with your statement as well. So we end our debate here, and thank you all for joining the debate and give their opinions about the statement, agreements and disagreements about the statement. And thank you all. Guys, thank you.
Thank you very much for attending the debate, everyone.